This happened about 4 years ago. This might be a long, boring story, but in writing about it, I might also find closure. My husband and I met three couples when we worked in the UK some years ago. We became quite good friends. Two of the men were brothers, and the other guy was one of the brothers' best friend. The friendship continued when we all came back to South Africa, and everybody got married. We were already married and started having kids. The one couple, one of the brothers, D, and his wife, C, started a travel agent company. They did extremely well in this company and often took us or the other couples or all of us at minimal cost or no cost to us on their site inspections at expensive star-rated lodges. After a while, everybody became more engrossed in their own lives, and we didn't visit together quite as often. Then we heard through the grapevine that D and C were talking behind our backs, and we kind of stopped going there and focused more on our own family. Some years went by, a lot happened in our life in the meantime, and I was working about an hour away from home. I worked on a temporary basis as I was still looking for something closer, but after 2 years decided to accept their permanent offer. In the meantime, we still saw D and C occasionally at a function. We were still friends with the other brother and the other couple. We started getting invites again from D and C and invited them to our house and cleared the air regarding the nonsense spoken behind our backs. The four couples were reunited again. We went on a holiday together, we had our son, and they each had 2 children. Shortly after this, D and C decided to immigrate to New Zealand. They wanted someone to manage their travel business. They were the only 2 working there at the time. They approached me and I said I was very happy where I worked even though it was far. The offer they made me was impossible to refuse. I was offered 20% shares in the company if the company did well within a year of them leaving. I would earn double what I was earning at the time, and the office was 10 minutes from home. I was also told that I would have an option to buy out the company after 5 years. My husband and I were excited, but weary. They pushed me for an answer and I accepted. I told my husband if I don't take this opportunity, one might blame myself later on. I handed in my resignation at my current job. They were not happy, but were happy that I had a brighter future ahead of me. In my final month, I found out I was pregnant. Well, this was a total surprise for us, as our first child was an IVF baby and my husband had chemo in the meantime, so we had given up all hope of having another child. I discussed this with D and C and they were happy for us and said it wouldn't be a problem. I suggested they hire someone else as well so there's backup if I go into labor or get sick or something. They approached D's sister-in-law and she agreed. I knew her well, so was quite happy with the situation. On my first day I arrived at the office, I saw D's sister-in-law there as well as D's sister. I was employed as the office manager, so was quite taken aback by not being told about D's sister, but soon we were busy learning new things, and everyone got along fine. After a week, I started noticing little things. I, so-called office manager with 2 juniors, were doing the junior jobs and P, the sister-in-law, were given all the bigger responsibilities. I received my contract and noticed nothing of what I was promised on there and asked them to amend it. I started feeling something was not right, so my husband and I went to our so-called friend's house one evening, and I asked them if anything was wrong as I was picking up strange vibes. D and C reassured me that nothing whatsoever was wrong. I said that I was committed to the business and respect what they have built up and only want the best for the business. I left there feeling a little weird. The 3rd week I received my new, amended contract. It still had nothing of what we discussed, but in the meantime they changed from a permanent contract to a temporary contract on a weekly basis. I was so nauseous from being pregnant and felt so crap and scared that I signed that contract. Biggest mistake of my life. I received a message that evening to meet C, the wife, at a local restaurant at 7 a.m. the next morning. I had a feeling of dread. I was in my first trimester and stressing my ass off. I arrived there the next morning, and she is there with a labor consultant/accountant. She gives me a letter saying they no longer need my services as they can no longer afford me. I am totally taken aback. It is November and I am pregnant. No one is going to employ me at the end of the year in this condition. I felt betrayed by someone that I considered a close friend, and her spineless husband didn't even have the balls to face me. I sit there, and I feel like bursting into tears. I ask her what the real reason is, and she says they are scared that I will take over their business? WTF? This coming from someone who stole this whole business idea from her previous employer, even copied all their forms/letters, etc. So, I guess it would be natural for them to assume that everyone was as low and dishonest as they were. I walk out of there, feeling hurt, angry, and betrayed. This was the most unexpected betrayal that I have ever come across. I call my ex-supervisor and tell her what had happened. I ask her to keep her ears open if a job opportunity came up. By 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was reinstated at my old company. Not in my old position as I trained someone to take over from me, and also not permanent as I was pregnant. I lost my benefits. I couldn't claim UAF, but a job was created for me just to take me in, and for that I will be forever grateful. What have I learned from this experience? It is one thing to be betrayed by a stranger, but to be betrayed by someone close to you who you considered to be a friend is really hurtful. I also learned that people you consider your friends can care less about you or your circumstances, but people you considered to only be your colleagues but not necessarily your friends can actually care more. I have forgiven them. I don't wish anything bad to happen to them. As it turns out, they bought a fake company in New Zealand without their knowledge, sold everything here, and moved there, only to be sent back to South Africa after learning of the scam. Since then they tried again, was sent back again. They have taken a hard knock but have successfully immigrated to Canada about a year ago. Oh, and a year after I left, they did almost the same to the sister-in-law. I got her a job at my company where she is still working. If you're still reading this, thanks for your time. It has helped me to write about it. It feels like I can now close this book and wish them happiness for their future.